we're also talking about all the backlash surrounding Donald Trump's ballroom demolition and the White House design project. Critics call it a vanity move during campaign season, while supporters say it's part of a long-term branding effort. People are fired up about this. I had mentioned earlier that so many different presidents have made so many different changes to the White House over the years, over the decades, and not a lot of outcry, when all these other presidents did it. But Donald Trump, he makes a move to put a ballroom in, and look out. He is destroying the republic and destroying the people's house. Let's bring in Roshini Rajkumar, host of the Crisis Files. Good morning, Roshini. How are you?
Good morning, Kevin. That's quite the intro. Yes, it's really interesting how some things get portrayed, especially for this president.
Yeah, Marie Osborne, who does the news segments with me, she thinks it's a terrible thing because this ballroom is so big that it's going to dwarf the rest of the White House. I think that's an interesting take. The one I was following so closely was what I was watching in the media. This is MSNBC's Morning Joe.
In front of the facade of the White House, it is not being obliterated as Donald Trump, who promised that he was not going to take a wrecking ball to the existing structure, has taken a wrecking ball to existing structure. I got to say, Mick, it really is. It is hard to watch that, and it's hard to believe that any president could destroy the White House and take a wrecking ball to an existing structure so historic.
Except that so many other presidents have structurally changed the White House. They added the East Wing, the West Wing, the Oval Office. They've taken it down to the studs before. They fixed it after the British burned it in 1814. And that's the outrage that we're getting. That's not about, the size of the ballroom. That's about Donald Trump obliterating the people's house. I don't know. What's your take on it?
Well, first of all, the drama for Morning Joe there, it almost sounded more
gasps.
dramatic and more sad. Exactly. Exactly. Than when Notre Dame was actually burning down. And that was a colossal, just crisis. And the world was crying over that, and it should have been. And thank goodness for Notre Dame today. But here's the thing. One of the issues that Donald Trump has is that he kind of just goes and does stuff. And then sometimes he'll tell us one thing, and then it'll be a little bit different, or factual change happens that matter to a lot of people. And so he probably shouldn't have said, we're not going to do X, we're not going to completely demo it or something like that, and just gone ahead and done his project. I do think it's very over-indexed. The criticism of it is very over-indexed. But we've also seen that Donald Trump does things the way Donald Trump does things. So this feigning of just being so shocked is also what stokes the flames on this. And the narratives in the news then become even more enlarged than they need to be. So stick to the facts. Like you've pointed out, other presidents have made changes. They haven't necessarily asked the whole country about it, gone to Congress about it. And that's really where we should look. What has been done historically? What are the steps that now are going to be taken? And full transparency should happen from Donald Trump also.
I almost always disagree with how Donald Trump does things, for the record. I mean, I'm almost never happy with his strategy of the way he does it. But it works for him. He's president of the United States. 80 million people voted for him. And I like the way he gets things done. I think that he's a really good president to be involved in possible renovations. The guy's whole business career is in construction. I do think it's dangerous to have the media, some of the media, just point out that he said he wasn't going to touch the East Wing, and now he has, and he's destroying or obliterating the White House without going through the history of all of the different things that have happened with the White House over the years. I think you got to tell the whole story if you're going to tell the story.
You always have to tell the whole story. The other thing, and one of the points that's really in Donald Trump's favor, is I believe it was the last time there was any kind of major construction by a president or change was 1942. I mean, many of us weren't even alive then. So, I mean, the point is he is doing a renovation. Much like we do in our homes, much like offices do in their spaces, And that's really how it should be looked at and judged on that. Now, do we need a ballroom that seats that many more people? Probably. The world has changed. There are big state dinners, there are big events. This perhaps also allows the White House, this president and future presidents, to host events that maybe in the past haven't been hosted in the White House. So maybe it becomes even more of a people's house. I mean, I'm just looking at it from all the different angles, Kevin, and the possible positive optics as well as storylines that can happen with something like this. And then we have to always remember it's Donald Trump. As you said, you don't really like a lot of the things that he does. He doesn't mind when people get all worked up over his behavior. It's sad because I think it's not really healthy that you want people to just get so aggravated about the things you do. But then also, each of the people that are criticizing can control their own behavior. They're adults. Let's discern what's actually happening. Let's really focus on what's important in the world right now. Gaza, other points of famine and war in different parts of the world. I think we really need to have the media members, especially the journalists, focusing on those. And then let's see what happens with this renovation. I've looked at the renderings. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I hope I can tour it one day.
Absolutely. If Barack Obama had done this, all the media would be going on personal tours with the First Lady, and it would be the greatest thing that ever happened. But not under Donald Trump. Roshini Rajkumar, attorney, political strategist, host of the Crisis Files. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.